Hey there, thanks for joining me today. My name is Kelly and I just wanted to share my experience of my 3-day, 72-hour fast. And I had never fasted before. I had always wanted to do it. It was a New Year's resolution of mine to do it. So I did it here in January, and I just thought I should share my experience because I kept a journal. I kept a little diary of all of my feelings and thoughts, and I just thought it might be useful. So I have been vegan for 9 years, and I have never fasted, before that or during, never ever. The closest I ever get to fasting is when we travel or fly or something like that, and I can't eat for half the day or something because I just don't have options, or I don't want to eat the options. And then other than that, I pretty much fast about 12 hours, every night when I am sleeping. I try to aim for 10 or 12 hours of a natural non-eating window, right? And so that's the closest I've ever got to fasting or going without food. And I was very scared to do it, honestly. I was apprehensive. I thought I was just going to be having a headache all day. I thought I wasn't going to be like a good mother. I thought I was going to be snapping at people because I was hungry, but I really did some research about it. Don't take just my advice. You got to do your own research too. But this is the stuff that I'm going to share with you that worked for me and things like that. But I did my research on how to do it safely, and it went very well for me. I'm glad that I did it. I feel totally normal today. Yesterday I broke my fast at 4 p.m. and today I've been eating normal. I've had a normal breakfast and lunch that typically I always have. So I typically eat very high fiber. I eat high vegetables and things like that. So let me just get into it. So the reason why I even wanted to do a fast at this point in my life, I just felt called to spiritually. I just kind of felt called that I've been wanting to do it. And I just woke up 2 days before the fast and I was like, I think I need to do it. It just was in me, something spiritually was just you should fast. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. And so I prepared in those 2 days for the fast. And I also felt like physically I was ready for a fast, in the fact that we had just got back from a trip, and I did not have access to a pool, so I didn't do my lap swimming that I normally do, and I did not lift weights when I was there. I did maybe half of the days we were there, I did a body weight workout, 30 minutes or something like that. But I was already much lower on calorie expenditure, as you could say. I wasn't requiring as many calories because I just wasn't lifting heavy and I wasn't doing any cardio for about 10 days or so before I started the fast. So when I woke up 2 days before the fast and decided I was going to do it, I also did not exercise at all those 2 days. I did keep active though. I went for a short walk and I cleaned. I did a lot of cleaning because I was like, if I feel like crap and I can't move around, I want the house clean. So I did a bunch of cleaning. I did laundry and all that kind of stuff before the fast. And I also went shopping for my refuel foods, and for stuff for during the fast. So I'm going to show you those items and products in a moment. But I thought, if the last day of my fast, if I don't feel like shopping, if I can't, do it, because I told myself I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 72 hours without food. It is going to happen. I'm not going to be like, oh, I feel like crap, I'm just going to eat. I knew I wasn't going to give in. I wasn't going to, not do the whole thing, because I'm just not that type of person. I like to challenge myself and complete things and do them. So I knew that I was going to do it. So I said, okay, I want to have my foods ready. So I froze some things. I portioned out some little things just so I didn't have to think really, and I would be ready to break the fast safely as well. So let me get into some of the details. So let's see. I used this electrolytes because we had some electrolyte packets already that I liked, but they had stevia in them, and I didn't want to have anything like that, okay? And they said, like, you know, I've read that that's okay, it's 0 calories and stuff, but I just didn't want to have it. It could probably like make you more hungry possibly, or something like that, just having that flavoring or whatever, that sweetness. So I bought this one, totally raw, and I'll share how many scoops and whatever I used of this. I also got some fancy waters. I typically just drink right out of the fridge, right? Filtered water out of the fridge, but I said, no. I'm gonna buy my fancy waters, make it worth it. So I bought 3 of these for each of the days. This is 84.5 fluid ounces. And then I got 1 of these for each of the days. This is like sparkling water, but no calories, no flavoring or anything. It's just, you know, a little bit of carbonation in the spring water, which naturally has some minerals in there. And then I also stocked up on my peppermint tea because I did drink that throughout. And I already love peppermint tea without anything in it, so it wasn't like a challenge for me to not put like milk or cream or anything in there. I always just drink it straight up. I also never drink coffee, never have, never do. I don't, so that wasn't an issue for me. But if you do drink coffee, they do say that you should try to wean off of it the couple of days leading up to your fast, because you'll probably have like a headache from not having the caffeine. But then I've also read that sometimes it's fine to have the coffee as long as you don't put anything in it. So, and then I also have this, the iodized salt, and overall I ended up taking 1 teaspoon of this per day, split up throughout the day. So those were the products, the items that helped me get through the fast. And I believe if you don't have these things, the electrolytes and the salt specifically, that you will not succeed. You will feel like crap, you will be sick, you'll have headaches, and you can't do it. So, nonetheless, I am adding electrolytes and I am adding salt to my list of doomsday items, just in case you can't go anywhere and you need to fast, you don't have food. As long as you have these, you're gonna be okay for a while. And water, right? Okay. Moving along. So the 2 days before the fast, I ate normal the day that I decided to. The 2 days before, I ate pretty normal, and everything. You know, I had beans, I had bulgur wheat, I had some oatmeal, I had tofu, tempeh, berries, bananas, that kind of thing. The next day, so the day before I decided to fast, or the day that I stopped eating at 4 p.m. and my fast began, right? I started it at 4 p.m. that day. I tried to eat lower carbs. So I did have like a carb breakfast. I had some beans and in my smoothie. I'll explain that in a minute, but I've always done that. And lunch I had like tofu, and I had some avocado and some vegetables. I didn't have like really any carbs. And then at dinner, I just had more veggies, and I had tempeh, which is like fiber, you know. And then I was like, you know what? I was reading back and forth, like people were like, don't eat carbs on your last day. You're gonna have a terrible headache, a terrible time starting out and everything. And then some people were like, you know, my last big meal, I do oatmeal, you know. So I ended up having a little oatmeal and banana right before the fast ended at like 3:30, 3:45. I had oatmeal. So that was my last meal, but it wasn't a lot. I think I only did a half a cup of oats. It wasn't like very much. Okay, so I decided to start my fast at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday. So let me see. Flip the page. I wrote a lot, right? So I wrote down some things that I just wanted to like do and focus on since I wouldn't be spending as much time in the kitchen. And it really was like, I was like, wow, a lot of time not prepping my food and stuff. So I ended up just doing like some, you know, crafts. I did some organizing, things like that. And I also wanted to like use it. I didn't really want to necessarily do it for the health purposes alone. I wanted to make it like a spiritual experience. So I did like more praying. I would pray in the morning, thank you for a new day, give me strength to get through this fast, you know. And then at night I would say, thank you for giving me the strength to get through the day, you know, please wake me up tomorrow, and things like that. And, you know, just try to focus more on the spiritual side of things as well. And I also tried to keep busy. I didn't want to just be a lump on the log. I still wanted to walk around, play with my son, and all of that stuff. So let me see. Oh, here's where I wrote down exactly what I ate, because I had like this page was like, I was like trying to recall from memory. It was very vague. Okay, the day before my fast, exactly what I ate. I did have electrolytes in the morning because I said I want to start stocking up on that in my body. I just did it. So I did electrolytes in my water that morning. Then I had my black bean, cocoa powder, dates, and my beets smoothie. I love that. And then I had a cup of bulgur wheat with berries. Then I had a strawberries, lemon, walnuts, and watercress smoothie for lunch, and some fava bean tofu. So that's where I was starting to cut down on the fiber and stuff. And then for dinner, I had mushroom, onion, zucchini, spinach, stir fry with some edamame, and then I had that oatmeal with the banana. And I stopped eating by 4 p.m. So I was high on nutrients, but I wasn't as high on like carby fiber, you could say, as I would normally be. But I tried to eat a variety of foods, and I tried also not to stuff myself, you know. I kind of went to bed a little bit hungry, you know. I tried to eat a smaller portion of things throughout that day, just prep my body, you know, for it. And I think it helps a little bit, because that first day I woke up, I felt great. I woke up and I remember being like, I want to pay attention to when I start feeling hungry, but I took my electrolytes right away. Okay, so I took my raw electrolytes. I did 2 scoops of this in 24 ounces of water, and I drank that right away without delay. Right away without delay. And that would have been like right at my breakfast time. And I surprisingly, like, my hunger didn't kick in really that much. I think I was forcing myself to think about other things, of course, but typically I'm pretty hungry in the morning. I'm ready to eat. So I was very pleased with that. And then mid-morning, I ended up having 16 ounces of water with a half a teaspoon of the salt, okay? So then I didn't get any headaches. I didn't get a single headache throughout the whole entire fast. I was so surprised by that, because typically when I don't eat for half the day or something, you know, after like traveling or flying or something, I got a headache, man. I'm hungry, you know, and I think it's the electrolytes. So I learned something, okay? I also took my weight. I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you the difference between the days, which wasn't much. Okay, and then at lunch, I ended up having 24 ounces more of water with, oh, no, I didn't do that. I did the half a teaspoon of this. Oh, no, I wrote down that. So I did half a teaspoon of this and a scoop of this in the 24 ounces of water. And then mid-afternoon, I sipped on this. It was so good. I put it in the fridge. It was ice cold. Okay. And then at dinner time, I had 16 ounces more of the electrolyte in water. And I sipped on 2 cups peppermint tea. And they say 64 to 100 ounces of water a day is what you should be doing when you're fasting. I feel like I have more than that, but I didn't add it. But if you go over that amount, you do want to be aware if you go over that amount, because your kidneys just can't really filter it out properly and maintain, you know, your electrolyte balance and stuff. You might be diluting your electrolytes or something like that. So I didn't even have like any cravings or anything that day. I was just like, I'm not doing food today. And I just, you know, thought about other things, and I was totally fine. At dinner time though, I was trying to think real hard. I was like, if I were to eat right now, what do I want? I just like to evaluate myself like that. And it was a salad. I really wanted just like a big crunchy salad full of everything. And I was probably the most hungry in the whole day around like 7 p.m. And then it passed, you know, I went to sleep, and I slept so good. It was crazy. I typically like really don't sleep that good. I don't want to say that I don't sleep good. I definitely sleep good, but I don't fall asleep sometimes, like for a while. And sometimes I wake up like just too early, and I'm like, but then I can't fall back asleep. I like can't sleep it. It's never been easy for me to do that. Put it right here on the side. Yeah, my hunger subsided at bed, and I was just kind of sleepy, and I slept a perfect 8 hours. It was unbelievable. And then that day I just did some little errands. I went to the post office. I took like a nice hot shower, did a hair mask, things like that. And I was feeling good. So day 2, I woke up after a great night of sleep, and I weighed myself, and I was down 2 pounds. So that's like probably water weight, right? Or whatever, glucose burned off, whatever it is. My stomach felt very good. Like it was like so flat and so nice. My waist was like nice and small. And I was like, if I can just look like this when I eat. But so something I did notice, so I have rosacea. Like I've always had problems with rosacea on my face. And ever since I was like a teen, they told me that I have it. And something I noticed when I woke up day 2, or, you know, after fasting for that whole day, when I woke up on day 2, my face was like blotchy. And I was like curious about that, because typically if I go hours without eating, like during the day and stuff, my rosacea is calm. Like it is like, I'm pretty pale, and I like it instead of looking so red. Because after you eat, sometimes like you get flushed depending on what you eat and stuff like that. But I was surprised that it was, you know, a little bit blotchy. And I was just thinking, you know, maybe my cortisol levels were up, even though I didn't allow myself to feel that stress. You know, naturally your body's like, whoa, we went a whole day without food. And, you know, you ramp up your cortisol level a little bit. So I think maybe that had something to do with it. And then also, you know, I had very high salt. That's all I had. So maybe it was the salt. That was all that was, you know, in my body that day. But after I got up, and I did wash my face, you know, as I always do, put my sunscreen on, and I started moving about, my face just kind of like it was completely perfect. Good, right? There wasn't any blotchiness. And throughout the day, it looked very good. So that was interesting. And something to note was that I had red ant bites on my 1 foot and my ankle, and I got them on Sunday, and I started my fast on a Wednesday. So I got bit on Sunday. My son got bit too, so I kind of been using him as a reference. I swelled up so bad from these bites. Like my foot was so red and puffed, full of like fluid. Like when I walked, it was like, whoa, like it's so gross. They were so itchy, incredibly itchy, right? So when I woke up day 2, it still felt like the same or whatever. But when I woke up on day 3, they were like barely itchy. So maybe that was just the general trajectory of the healing of the bites, but just something to note that I wrote down. Okay, so day 2, I did the same regimen of water and electrolytes and salt throughout the day. I vacuumed I did some other random stuff, and I wrote down here 46 hours, yawning a little bit at 2 p.m. So I did get like a slump at 2, but then I had my dinner, my dinner salt and everything, and I remember feeling like normal again. So I couldn't believe. I felt like a general hunger all day, but it wasn't like bothersome. No hunger pangs, and it was just kind of like there. I recognized it, but it wasn't like an urgency feeling or anything like that. I couldn't believe it. I never got lightheaded either, except for one time on day 3, like in the morning when I got up before I had anything. But other than that, I couldn't believe how like normal I felt, And I don't know if I ever went into ketosis, They say like after 36 hours or whatever, you start burning fat instead. But I don't know. I eat a lot of carbs. I eat a lot of fiber. I don't know if I ever went into ketosis. There might have just always been sugar and glucose still in my cells that I was using, because my brain was functioning great and my body was functioning great. But I had a little bit of like weak legs on the second day. I remember feeling like just kind of shaky in my legs a little bit. Maybe like towards the evening, but so those are just my thoughts. Sorry this is getting long, but it's comprehensive. It's really full of everything that I was thinking. So here's day 3. So I slept perfect again, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. perfect, like some of the best sleep I've ever had, honestly. So that was interesting, because I thought I was going to have a lot of trouble sleeping. People say like you have a lot of trouble sleeping, like if you're entering ketosis, you're going to have sleep disturbances. A lot of times if I don't get like a full supper and I try to go to sleep, I cannot sleep at all. If I'm even the least bit hungry, I cannot sleep. It's just always been the way I've been. I could not believe the sleep that I got. It blew my mind. So 1 pound less on day 3. So altogether 3 pounds down. So not a lot, Let's see. My face was blotchy again when I woke up. So that was very interesting. But then, as I moved around, I felt very rested, not drained at all. As I moved around, my face flushed out and was good again. So I had the same thing in the morning. I had 24 ounces of water with 2 scoops of this. And 24 ounces is just the size of my cup that I like, my pink cup that I drink out of all the time. They say 1 scoop per 16 ounces, but if you're trying to get more of this, it's like a little salty. There's a little flavor to it. And then drinking the salt water, you taste it. It's salty, but, and then, so on day 3, like the day that I, was going to break my fast at 4 o'clock, that breakfast time that morning, I was like really hungry. I was like, ooh, I want food, and I was a little bit shaky. I got lightheaded that one time in the morning, but then I had my half a teaspoon of this, and it subsided my hunger and took away any like dizziness or anything. So that was very interesting. I ended up going to Whole Foods and getting a bunch of food to have, and I was surprised at what I was attracted to. I thought I was going to be more attracted to like maybe breads or something like that, but I went right for the greens. I went right for the veg, and that's what I bought the most of, the salad stuff, because still on that day, the thing I was craving the most was salad. So that's awesome. And at lunch, I had the other half of the teaspoon of this, and then I just think I sipped on like a little bit of this and a little bit of tea until 4 p.m. I didn't want to have like a lot a crazy amount between like lunch and 4 p.m. of fluids because I was gonna break my fast with a gigundous bowl of miso soup. And that is what I did. So my hunger was kind of off and on for the whole day 3. But come 4 p.m. I was like, I wasn't even like ravenous, you know, but I was just excited. I was like, I'm breaking it, you know, because in my head I was like, if I'm doing really good, I might sleep one more night and break it in the morning. But I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it. I made it 72 hours and I was just excited to eat. So, but I wasn't like crazy hungry, like crawling on the floor dead. I just felt pretty normal and I was just pumped to eat something. So I ended up making miso with almost a whole block of tofu. I gave my son some of the tofu, so I think I had about 30 grams of protein worth of tofu in this miso soup, and I cut up like a couple of green onions. I think I had 3 whole green onions in there, and I just let that boil in the miso, and I'll insert a clip. It was so good. I ate the whole bowl, and I ate it pretty fast, and I felt kind of full afterwards. But it was like a fluid feeling of full because it was so much like broth. It was absolutely divine. Okay, so that was at 4 p.m. I ended up having that right at 4 p.m. And then I waited a little bit, you know, not long, and I ended up making a stir fry, zucchini, peppers, onions, a little bit of greens in there, and I ate that with an avocado. And it was so good. Loved it. I just put like some garlic powder on the veg, and I ate it with the avocado. It was great. Then I waited a little bit, not long, and I had 2 dates and 1 large Japanese sweet potato. And the way that I make my sweet potatoes, it was like cake. It was like literal candy. I roasted these giant ones at 350 degrees for an hour and a half. Which I don't normally have to roast them that long if they're not as big. And then I turn off the oven and I leave it in there for like a long time for them to just get really, really soft and not burnt at all. And it was so delicious. And I ended up I stopped eating by 5:20. I ate all of that in an hour and 20 minutes. And I felt like, I didn't feel like overly full, but I was full and I was so satisfied. I was like on cloud 9. I was like, that was all of my favorite foods. That was so good. Oh my gosh. And I didn't eat again. The whole night. I went to sleep and I slept pretty great. Oh, I still did like my stretches every night. I always like to do like stretches before bed. I did that every night still, and you know, prayed and everything. And then day 4, which is today or whatever you call it, day 4. So I broke my fast yesterday, and now today I woke up. I am feeling fine, feeling great. I feel normal. I don't feel like depleted or anything, and I don't feel extra rejuvenated either. I just feel normal. I don't know. But I hope that there was some, like, you know, cell regeneration and immune system regeneration or something. I hope it did something for me. But I feel normal. I ended up having my my black bean smoothie again that I love. I just do some black beans, dates, cocoa powder, and beets. Some just raw beets blended up, and it's like a chocolate pudding. So I ended up having that again for breakfast, and I did not have like any problem with that. Like the day of the fast, when I broke at 4 p.m., as you can see, I didn't really have much fiber, right? Because they say, you know, you're gonna get stomach discomfort. You're gonna have a lot of stomach pains if you do the you know, fiber, if you break your fast with beans or whatever. So I abstained from the fiber for the first night. But in the morning I had it, and I felt great. I felt absolutely great and normal, completely energized from it. And for lunch I had green salad, and I had tempeh in there, and everything is good. Everything is normal and fine. So I'm sorry this was long. I hope that you got some information from it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. See ya, bye.